right, Nomad, coming to you live from the wastelands of the internet. I hope that everyone is having a good day. Hope that everyone is doing well out there in the land of the electrons and in real life, actually. I hope that you're all having a good day. I have returned. I do not have a co-host right now. Jensen is a bit under the weather, and he has other priorities as well for his health, which I hope he gets better very, very soon. All right, but without being rained, I, I, hey, without having somebody to rein me in, you guys know what to expect. You should by this point. But we have lots of news of the week, and let's get started, shall we? In the world of the land of the lost and the forgotten, we have news about the Ukraine. Germany plans to halve its military aid for the Ukraine. Germany is planning to nearly halve the military aid for Ukraine next year from around 8 billion euros, all right, to around 4 billion according to a draft budget approved by the government. Finance Minister Christian Lindner said Ukraine's financing was secure for the foreseeable future due to the G7 group of rich countries' scheme to raise $50 billion from the interest on frozen Russian assets. Germany is Ukraine's second biggest military donor after the United States. We gave them 40 billion, they gave them 8. We just gave them 60 billion. 60 billion. Germany gave them 8. And they're the second biggest supplier. And they're like, well, we're going to reduce that to 4. Well, they're getting it from the Euros. The planned aid comes amid fears in the Ukraine and among its European allies, where, just asking the question, that the U.S. funds could be slashed or even stopped if Donald Trump wins the presidency in November's elections. President Vladimir Putin launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February of 2022. Nice of the BBC to remind us of what year it all started. The draft budget was approved by the German government on Wednesday. Hello, Jensen. All right. Although military aid to the Ukraine is set to be reduced, the defense budget for the 2025 will be raised by 1.3 billion euros to 53.25 billion, of which they're using none of their own money. According to what they just said. Does it say here? We're going to use Russian assets. We don't actually want to pay anything ourselves. Well, we'll use the Russian assets. Don't ask us for money. Don't ask us for shit. We're not giving you shit. Why isn't the U.S. helping them out more? And I would venture to say that when it comes to actual military aid, that the number 2 aider, the number 2 nation that's giving them aid is not Germany. Where are those big Leopard tanks? You know, the ones that they were all talking about, how they're going to go out there and kick the crap. Oh, the best tank in the world, Leopard 2s. I was told that constantly by people, that the Leopard 2 was the best tank ever to be produced. Does anybody remember all that? How the Leopard 2s were going to go out there and kick everybody's ass? They could kick an M1's, you know, 6 ways to Sunday. Funny that those Leopard 2s aren't on the front lines anymore. What would you send them? 2? Just just asking. Just out of curiosity. In other developments, Russia and Ukraine on Wednesday carried out the latest swap of prisoners of war, with each side receiving back 95 personnel. The United Arab Emirates facilitated the exchange. A source in Ukraine's military confirmed to the BBC that Ukrainian troops had withdrawn from the village of Krinke, all right, a key foothold on the Russian-occupied eastern bank of the Dnieper River in southern Kherson region. But the source added that the Ukraine operations in the area have continued. Britain's new Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, will host some 45 European leaders on Thursday at a summit where he hopes to begin to reset London's relationship with the continent. The gathering of the European political community will also give leaders a chance to reaffirm its support for the Ukraine. Blah, ha, ha. So what's really going on? Well, let's go take a look at a map, shall we? Here's a map of the area. All right, we got a little blue thing here. It says drones of different tribes, including the Shahad drones, were shot down overnight by the Ukrainian air defense. Yeah, okay, whatever. Alrighty. What they're saying now is all along this area here in Kherson is now under the control of the Russians. So the Russians at this point are trying to establish the Dnieper River, which is this river here, all right, as the borderline, all right, as we go through. This is where they're going to try to force everything, all right. They have started a new offensive, all right. They are going to solidify some pockets. It looks like this will be the next big pocketed area where they're going to start roaming through here, trying to push aspects over to here to either reduce this area or to reduce this area. All right, one step at a time. Once these areas are reduced, I suspect the next big push will be to see whether or not this area withdraws. All right, but there's 2 areas that they're going to try and retake. One is Karakov, all right, but that is in a later stage operation, is what it looks like to me. Most likely, what they're going to try and do is push all this back, because what they would like to do is they would like to run up here, and if they can get this area here secured, all right, it'll give them a border, all right, a borderline to stand behind. The Ukrainians, by the same token, have to prevent that. Now, they've got 2 places to do that. One is here, okay, and this area here, as you can tell by the way that the streams and everything travel through here, this is not easy terrain, all right, for military operations to go through. Okay, these present a lot of areas where you can set up ambushes and so forth. All right, so this is going to be a contested area for a while. This forested regions here, I think they're just going to ignore it for the moment. Like I said, I think the areas are over here. We got a little white flag here. It says it's a full occupation of another village down here, according to the Russians. All right, they're busily pushing in offensive operations. Now, it wasn't that long ago. If everyone remembers, it wasn't that long ago when they were all talking about how the Ukrainians were prepping for a freaking massive counteroffensive, a massive counterattack. Where is it? It never materialized. So operationally, right now, the entire war remains offensively in the hands of the Russians. The Ukrainians are remaining on the defensive, and there's admittedly hundreds of people getting killed every single day. all right, from drone attacks and everything else, all right. But for the most part, the front lines have overall stabilized, with the Russians providing pressure for an attack and moving in slowly because that's the Russian meat grinder tactic right now. During the Korean conflict, when the Germans came across, no, I'm sorry, the Germans, I mean the Chinese, when the Chinese came across the Yalu River, all right, and pushed us back, most people don't realize that the United States then changed its tactics because it wanted to end the war. And so we weren't throwing our full weight behind the battle anymore. We weren't really pushing the battlefield lines. And the reason for that had to do with the erection of the Iron Curtain, where basically the Soviets had now actually moved in and were actually, really solidifying the Berlin Wall and the wall to East Germany and so forth. And so there was a lot of concern that we had to plus up troops there to ensure that uh, operations would continue. So Korea, like it or not, became a sidelight. And the idea then was, let's bring China to the bargaining table. We will launch counteroffensives with limited goals, okay, to take back territory that the Chinese take from us, all right, after we allow China to build up and attack. And it was called the meat grinder. This was a tactic that was used after they had replaced MacArthur, because MacArthur had been dismissed by the president. And rightly so, by the way. I'm not gonna argue. I like MacArthur and a lot of things that he did, but his actions in how he dealt with the president of the United States was disgraceful. Just being frank with you. Okay, he wasn't wrong about the Chinese. He wasn't wrong about dealing with the communist threat then and there. But he forgot that he is a commander, not the commander in chief. And he treated Truman disrespectfully. Period. Yeah, enough of that. Let's go on to the other major war front. And an Israeli airstrike hit a school sheltering people in Gaza, killing at least 30, including children. Israeli airstrikes hit a school used by displaced Palestinians in central Gaza Saturday, killing at least 30 people, including children, as the country's negotiators prepared to meet international mediators to discuss a proposed ceasefire. There is not going to be a proposed ceasefire. Is Hamas still there? Has the international community demanded that Hamas, all right, be eliminated? Have they? Because if they haven't, then what's there to negotiate about? At least 7 children and 7 women were among the dead, taken from the girls' school in Deir al-Bakar al-Ask hospital. Israeli military said it targeted a Hamas command center used to direct attacks against Israeli troops and develop and store large quantities of weapons. Hamas, in the statement, called the military's claim false. Bullshit! This is exactly what Hamas does. In this girls' school, all right, of the 30 people killed, 14 of them were women. In the women's school, 14 were women, which means 16 is men. What were the men doing there? Oh, they were just sheltering. They were just sheltering. An Associated Press journalist saw a dead toddler in an ambulance and bodies covered with blankets inside the school's shattered walls and uh, gaped in classrooms where were in ruins. People searched for victims in rubble strewn with pillows and other signs of habitation. Really? The Gaza Health Ministry said at least 12 people were killed in other strikes on Saturday. Good, right? This is what war is, folks. This is what war is. There's not going to be there might be a ceasefire here and there for temporary removement of things. But the reality is until until Hamas gives up all of gives up, this continues. Sooner or later, right now everyone can complain, can bitch, and everything else, but sooner, and obviously it's going to be later. There's going to have to come an understanding of what you're dealing with there. I've said this many times. Hamas isn't the problem. Hamas, the existence of Hamas is the problem. What do I mean by that? Hamas shouldn't exist anywhere. A group like Hamas should not be existing anywhere. Okay? It's just that simple. The reason Hamas exists is because it's supported by the very people who then come in the front and tell you, "I'm just trying to buy food for my child." Well, we'll give you food if you get rid of Hamas. No, no, no! The child starves. That's the attitude of these people. You better get it through your heads, all you freaking. What is genocide? You don't even know what genocide is. People like you throw a word around and you have no flipping clue what it is. And it's very frustrating because you have no point of commonality then when you're trying to speak to idiots like this. And I hate to say it, okay, but because of your attitude, because of that freaking mentality that you got, you're going to damn sure ensure it. You are going to ensure, all right, that some type of genocide has to take place before this stops. All because you can't sit up there and go, wait a minute here, you guys are the bad guys because you're supporting murdering bastards. No one's saying that this is all wonderful and sweetness and light and that the Israelis are perfect human beings. No one has said that. But they're not the kind of murdering butchers that Hamas is and the people who support them. On to other stories of the day. The Metropolitan Police arrest two men for GBH as protests turn violent. Anti-racist marcher receives a head injury in a counter-demonstration against thousand-strong Tommy Robinson London rally where Islamophobic chants were heard in the air. Two men were arrested after an anti-racism protester was attacked as counter-demonstrators marched through London against a thousand-strong Tommy Robinson rally. The victim received a head injury and was taken to a hospital after an incident in Victoria Embankment Gardens this afternoon, with police saying that the suspects had been taken into custody on suspicion of committing grievous bodily harm, GBH, as counter-protesters walked to Whitehall, close to the scene of a patriotic rally organized by former English Defence League leader Tommy Robinson. Uniting the Kingdom, described by organizers as the biggest patriotic rally the UK has ever seen, saw thousands of people march from Royal Courts of Justice to Trafalgar Square, filling the air with cries of England and Rule Britannia. All right, while some anti-Islamic chants were also heard. Less than 400 meters away, anti-racism demonstrators have protested the far-right rally at an event organized by Stand Up to Racism and trade unions, with police warning that anyone who breaches the restrictions or acts up could be arrested. While there is also a trans pride march in central London at the same time, with hundreds of LGBTQ plus activists descending on Wellington Arch. And we have all these wonderful pictures of the rallies. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. The Cross of St. George. Can't be flying that. I thought that was illegal to fly in your country. Hey, Batman, if you want to come in, let me know. Just come on in. I see that you're already here. Hold on. There we go. Now you'll be able to speak. Come on in. I see that you're already here. Hold on. You need to.
No, I'm not. I left ages ago.
You need to find a way to get the reverb. It's gone. It's gone. Very good.
Yes, because I muted the stream.
Mm.
Yeah, they're going on. Yeah, it's a racist march. Yeah, all these people. Yeah, that includes the Sikhs and the Hindus and the black people and the Chinese people who are marching with Tommy. And some of them are Muslims as well. Yes,
what Islamic? What Islamic?
You do actually get. You do actually get Muslims supporting Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, no, I believe that. I truly believe that. The question I have though is, with all due respect to these idiots, all right.
What
Islamic chants were being heard?
What Islamic what?
What anti-Islamic chants were being heard? They say they claim that they were heard.
Defund the BBC.
All right.
They lie.
I just want to know.
Liars.
I just want to know what was what because they didn't say anything. I'm still trying to figure out. I'm still trying to figure out because of the previous.
They're lying.
I believe you.
They are lying liars who lie.
Okay. I would still
and they
like
don't tell the truth either.
Okay. What was the reason? All right. Now this is all started because the guy who got his head kicked in, got and face kicked at the airport, right?
Well, this march.
Well, yeah.
You know, it's been planned for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but the big marches right now because of this is your George, as Jensen has put it, this is your George Floyd moment, right?
Yeah. Oh, this is the guy who actually tried to get the armed policeman's gun, I believe, wasn't it?
I don't know. I have no idea what the altercation was. All I know is that the police were trying to arrest the guy, and the next thing I know is he's on the ground getting stomped on, because that's all you see. But no one's told me how the police became involved in it. Were they just walk in one day and said, "Okay, well, we'll just beat this guy"? I don't think so.
Neither do I. From what I heard, I mean, it might be a different incident, but apparently there were a few Muslims there, and at least one of them was trying to get this armed response copper's gun. I mean, it's an airport; they carry guns.
I see. Okay. By the way, Batman, I have forgotten to include this.
You have forgotten what?
I have forgotten to clue you into this. So
Tutu? You have forgotten Tutu?
Not Tutu.
What, the Reverend Desmond?
No. Dingleberry. There.
Don't mess with my Tutu.
No. Well, no. That's this one here.
Ah, this one.
Yeah, that's this story. Olympics accused of mocking Christianity with drag queen parody of the Last Supper, because it was.
They are.
Okay.
Hey,
The
You know what the difference between mocking Christianity and mocking Islam is? If you mock Christianity, the Christians can take it because they have a sense of humour. If you mock Islam, you better go into hiding because they're going to come and kill you.
well, the Christians will say things that will will will
Some will, some won't.
won't be violent. Let me put it that way. They'll
Yeah,
say
some will,
things
some
against it.
won't.
They'll take offense to it, but they won't get violent. The
Like I said,
2024
some won't.
Yeah, the 2024 Olympics kicked off Friday with a procession of athletes and lighting of the Olympic torch, an apparent replication of the Last Supper performed by drag queens. Organizers were accused of ridiculing Christianity, because they were, by featuring more than a dozen drag entertainers posing for a scene reminiscent of Leonardo da Vinci. Excuse me.
His Last Supper. Yeah.
Right? Yes. Showing Jesus and the disciple at the last Passover meal before his betrayal, trial, and crucifixion on the cross. Drag queens mock Christianity during the opening ceremony of the Olympics in Paris as they attempt to recreate Da Vinci's painting of Jesus' Last Supper, said Sean Pruitt, a Texas pastor, author on X. Not only,
Yeah, I mean, there are different ways of mocking it. I mean, that painting has been parodied a lot of times,
yes,
but generally those parodies have been respectful. I mean, like Mel Brooks in History World Part 1, where he's working the restaurant where in the cafe where the Last Supper actually takes place.
well, yeah, but I mean,
The parody there, but it was respectful.
even Futurama's parody was somewhat respectful. All right.
Yeah,
Drag queens mock Christianity during the opening ceremony of the Olympics in Paris as they attempt to recreate. Okay, not only are Christians the only people that it's socially acceptable to mock, it's actually celebrated and put front and center. And he's not wrong. Okay, and
yeah,
what's more
Christians,
is there's
straight
people.
people and white people.
What's more is people are now starting to finally understand this is intentional.
Yeah,
Okay, this is intentional, and it's being done to harm society.
yep.
All right, now I want
And
you to
if
I
you're a
want you to
straight
understand this.
oh, if you're a straight white male Christian, you're fucked.
Yeah, and I want people to understand this. They're doing this at a time frame when people are no longer watching the Olympics. From a monetary standpoint, this is a disaster. So
Yeah,
why the hell would you do this? Why would you go out of your way to insult the vast majority of the host country's population, the vast majority of the European population, the vast majority of the American population, and Latin American populations? All right.
the
What are you
vast majority of
expecting
hold on, the
to
vast majority of
expect?
the Western world,
Right?
and in fact, I would say almost the majority of Africa as well. There are there are I think that the amount of Christian countries in Africa equals, if not supersedes, the amount of Muslim countries in Africa,
Oh yeah.
and they generally tend to be Catholics.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just nonsensical. Okay. Just how freaking far that these people have gone, and we're bringing the world together. No, you're spitting on the world because you want to spit out just degeneracy.
Hmm.
Now we're gonna
So,
change this up to a story that I don't normally do very many of, right?
the one about slimy virus.
Miley Cyrus's dad, Billy Ray, all right, 62, is dead to his daughter after branding her a devil and a skank in a shocking video tirade amid bitter rift over his marriage with Fire Rose, 37.
I think he actually beat her to it with the dead two bit.
Okay, Miley Cyrus's dad, Billy Ray, may have permanently destroyed his relationship with his daughter after branding her a devil and a skank in a shocking audio tirade, all right, revealed exclusively to the dailymail.com. days after 62-year-old Billy's vitriolic criticism of his pop star daughter, 31, was made public. Insiders have alleged that the recording was the final straw for Miley, whose relationship with her father was already on rocky terms as a result of his marriage to his estranged wife, Fire Rose, of 37. Sources tell the Daily Mail that Billy, who was also caught on an audio recording unleashing an expletive filled rant against Fire Rose, is now dead to Miley, who has not spoken to her father since her mom, Tish, 57, divorced from him in 2022 after 28 years of marriage. Okay, from with all due respect to everybody here, number one, calling your daughter a skank is a bit much. But then again, how else
not
are
if you're
you
Billy
going
Ray
to
Cyrus.
describe Billy? How are you going to describe Miley Cyrus?
Uh,
You're not going to describe her as a lady.
Barely human.
You're going to call her a professional? Professional what? Streetwalker?
Yeah, she's definitely a pro.
Okay. I'm saying, with all due respect, skank fits. The term skank fits her. I know a lot
Yeah,
of people
and
don't like
she's
that because they want to think of her as what was that? What was that stupid show that she was on?
oh,
That Disney show.
okay.
It was some
It's a
stupid
Disney
Disney.
show. I don't know.
Yeah, she was a Disney star. All right, where she was playing a pop star and going to high school, and it was one of those teen Disney show things.
Oh, see, Jensen knows because Jensen is gay.
On a Hannah Montana. Thank you,
Hey, gay boy, get yourself in here.
Jeff. No, he's beyond. He said his voice is really scratchy right now, so if he doesn't care to come in.
Yeah, it's probably because the testosterone's wearing off, and he sounds like he normally does. Yeah, like that.
I don't think so.
Hello, my name's Jensen Quinn.
But look, like almost every other star within the quote unquote Disney model, okay, their life.
Sorry, Jensen's just confirmed my suspicions.
Jensen, you're not helping matters today. But yeah, she is a skink. Okay, with all due respect.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying that he needs to treat his daughter that way. He should have been far more protective of her. To be honest, if he was far more protective of her, he shouldn't have allowed her to become Hannah Montana. Just putting it out there.
Well, no. There's no wrong with her following that career, but he should have made sure that she wasn't driven off the fucking rails into skank country.
There is Annette Funicello was the only child Disney star that didn't turn into a freaking drug-induced freaking
apparently
skank.
Oh, what you call her? That one, Wizards of Waverly Place.
Yeah.
The Latina girl. She also survived it.
Did she?
Oh, Selena Gomez.
I've heard stories
You
about
never heard
Selena.
Yeah, but nothing to the extent of the other lot.
Not well. Okay, she's not. Yes, that's true. By comparison, she's almost human, right?
I mean, let's face it, slimy virus there. She makes Madonna's worst acts look like something you'd see in a nun's singing group.
Yeah, well, she was trying to upstage Madonna. And Madonna was never as... All right, Madonna couldn't handle the fact that she was just a singer, all right? She wanted to be something more. And
Madonna was a very moderate, average singer, if you ask me. I don't think she was all that good.
She had a decent voice. Okay. And you can't but having a voice like that in the genre that when she came out, all right, was something that was very critical. You didn't see it that much. It fit the
She was a
pop.
pop singer.
Yeah, it fit the
That's all she was.
pop world.
Yeah. But
Right.
the reason she got so popular was because she portrayed this raunchy image, and that was got her fame much more than her singing ever could.
I disagree with that. The thing was, is as her fame because of her singing started to
You
die,
can, you can disagree as much.
she
You,
went to the raunch to try and stay into the public's eye, and
she
from that stand,
started with the fucking
no,
raunch.
no, 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 no.
No, no, you can
Her
disagree with
her
me as much as you
degeneration.
want.
No, her
You
degeneration.
can disagree with me as much as you want. You're still wrong, but you can
I'm not
disagree
wrong,
with
and
me.
I'll make a point. The her her slide into degeneracy began when she did that frickin' it was an Oprah scene where she Oprah interview where she pulled out the cigar. It was one of these late night, or it was either a late night show or Oprah, where she pulled out a cigar and was trying to smoke a cigar to be provocative, and that was the beginning of the slide. All right, the people were like, because people were like, oh, cool, she's on the edge. She's just she revels and still tries to today to do to revel in teen angst. Oh, we're gonna be edgy boy. We're gonna be edgy girl. All right, I've never
She
understood
was
the
always
reason
like
for that.
that.
No,
I mean, when she first
before
came
she's
out, when she first came out, she used to brag that before she became famous, she was a prostitute.
that I had never heard, and I'll be honest
Yeah.
with you. Hey, Mr. Barkley, welcome.
Hello, Matt. Or should I say,
don't
welcome, Matt?
don't panic. I made it back from watching the new Deadpool movie. I intend to see the Deadpool movie next week. By the way, Deadpool Wolverine. Just so people know, I'll give a review of it later. On to the next story. Plan to tax super rich divides the G20 in Rio. Brazil's vision, all right, for a global tax the rich sparked divisions Thursday at a meeting of the G20 finance ministers in Rio de Janeiro, where Washington dismissed the need for an international accord on the matter. The initiative, discussed at the afternoon meeting, is a key priority for Brazil's leftist president Luiz Ignacio Lula da Silva, right? Who this year heads the G20 grouping of the world's major economies, the European Union and the African Union. Even before talks, the U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Kami Yellen dampened the mood by saying that there was no need for a global agreement on taxing billionaires because in the U.S. you can't level this tax via fiat as much as Biden and Harris want to do so. Tax policy is very difficult to coordinate globally, she told journalists. We think that all countries should make sure that their taxation systems are fair and progressive.
Do you know what
However,
happens when you do you know what happens when your country starts taxing billionaires more than anybody else?
they leave.
Yeah, they go to other countries.
Right, which is exactly why this is why exactly why Lulu, all right, I think that's what they call him, right?
But it's all
Uh,
you know what happens when the billionaires leave your country, don't you?
yeah, economic
They
starvation.
take all their investments with them.
Yes, they do. Well, Lulu, of course, is upset about this. Those backing the plan saw having it on the agenda as a key first step. After the meeting, Brazil's economy minister Fernando Haddad expressed his confidence in the initiative and said a final declaration to be published Friday would mark a first step. This communique will take up the Brazilian proposal as we start looking at international taxation, not only from the point of view of rich countries, but also the point of view of individuals
Companies,
called the super rich.
rich companies,
All
not
right,
countries.
according companies, excuse me. All right, according to a draft of the declaration seen by AFP, the G20 members would seek to engage cooperatively to ensure that the ultra high net worth individuals are effectively taxed. This means seizing wealth. This is no
Yeah,
longer This is no longer about a
That's not
progressive tax
tax.
system. This is we're going to seize the wealth of individuals. And it's exactly like you said, FB. The problem
Uh,
remains when they do this, the billionaires say, well, fine, I won't invest in you. And they take all of
yeah,
their assets and leave the country.
and
And so,
if
what,
they're the super rich,
right,
and you try and do it on an international level, they will come after you. They've got the money to take on countries.
well, yes and no. I mean, the thing is their way
They
of
would
taking
band
them on,
together.
they would take them on by just not going there. All right, that's really what they'll do.
Yeah,
Okay, now the the problem with this is these countries like Brazil. Oh, they want to start seizing assets. All right, but they can't afford to have these billionaires leave. They don't understand that even in an international cooperation system, these billionaires will go, then why the hell am I staying here?
yeah. And you
Because
get
they
people go,
still
oh,
can
a lot
leave.
of these. You get a lot of people. Oh, well, a lot of these billionaires. Yeah, they didn't earn their money. They inherited it. Yeah, they inherited a lot of it, and they earned the rest. Even if they did just inherit all of it, I've got no right to take it. It's not mine. It's theirs.
Exactly. You know, whether you like it or not, the respect of international property, the respect of personal property rather, is a key to growth. It's a key to economic growth. And idiots like Lula and the rest of these freaking I want to detach them because they see it as we need more money because you've ran out of what you already have.
They tax the rich as long as it's not us.
Right. And so it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Let's get on to another story now. Ready?
No, but do it anyway.
Drug smuggle bid thwarted by lasagna anomaly.
Hold on, is that Bob from that 70s show?
No.
That's Bob from that 70s show.
A nurse aide responsible for distributing medicine to inmates at an Indiana hospital has been charged with trying to smuggle cocaine and marijuana into the facility via a bowl of frozen lasagna. Investigators charged. As alleged in court documents, Regina Davis, 46, arrived for work earlier this month at the Indiana State Prison, where the property of employees, including their lunch and dinner, passes through an x-ray machine before they enter. The maximum security lockup houses more than 2,000 adult male prisoners and is located 45 miles east of Chicago, Illinois. Davis's lasagna moved through the x-ray machine. A guard thought the Italian delicacy looked odd, so he sought the opinion of a colleague who concurred that
Don't tell me,
something did not
don't,
appear natural.
don't tell me they got their trained sniffer Garfield onto it.
Probably. When investigators subsequently dug through the lasagna, they found several packages wrapped in electrical tape contained coke, about 3 ounces, and pot, about 1.7 ounces. Lady, you're an idiot. Okay? You're just an idiot.
An optimistic idiot, but an idiot.
I cannot stress
Yeah,
this enough.
I've got some advice. I've got some advice for this woman. When she's planning on smuggling drugs into a secure facility, don't sample them first.
I mean, the idea. Believe it or not, the idea isn't that bad. It's just the method she chose to use, which is absolutely stupid.
Yeah.
There are ways to do this. First of all, I don't know if people know this, but electrical tape is kind of thick.
Right, for one thing, the scanning machines don't show a detailed picture, do they? They show generally a shape. If you disguise these packages as a shape that is purely innocuous, she would have gotten past.
Okay, it depends. Okay, because what it shows is density differential. Okay, if she would have used,
she could have disguised it. as bars of chocolate, for example.
Okay, here's the problem with what she did. Okay, if she'd have used saran wrap or clear plastic wrap, right, just a single sheet, it would have worked perfectly. But
Yeah,
the thickness of electrical tape, especially when you're using that much of it, is going to stand out because the density is so much different. All right, so a thin piece of plastic would have been fine. Okay, it would just look like a natural layer of the stuff. Okay,
masking tape would have done. You know, the
but
kind that you use
the
on
problem,
cardboard.
I
Kind that
agree.
no, no, the kind that you use on cardboard boxes.
I agree, but the problem with masking tape, to be honest, is the fact that it's not waterproof. Right, and you wanted to make this
I don't
waterproof.
care. It's not. I don't care. They're not my drugs.
That's a good point,
Hey,
actually.
actually, no. Hold on. She's delivering drugs to drug addicts, right? Why didn't she just mix it in with the fucking lasagna?
My question, okay, with all due respect, my question is who's paying her the money? I just want to know this because you're smuggling drugs into prison. What are you getting from the prison from a monetary perspective? The
Maybe she's
prisoners aren't running
getting.
around with wads of cash on
Maybe she's getting BBC.
them.
How do you know it's the prisoners that are paying her?
Well, that's where she was smuggling the drugs into prison.
Yeah, but how do you know it's the prisoners that are paying her?
Okay, even if the prisoners aren't the one paying her, if you're a drug dealer, are you going to sell the prisoners because there's no money there?
You'd be surprised how prisoners get how prisoners can get their hands on cash.
I don't disagree with you, but it's just to me, it just makes me wonder. Doing something like that is just you're just asking to be caught. Let's put it that way.
And besides, it's an American prison, and we all know all Americans are strung out on drugs all the time.
That is the common refrain. You are right. Okay, FBI confirms Trump hit by would-be assassin Thomas Matthew Crook's bullet after a bureau's director shrapnel suggestion. The FBI confirmed Friday that a bullet struck Donald Trump's ear during the July 13th
No shit,
assassination attempt
Sherlock.
in Butler, Pennsylvania. 2 days after the top official at the Bureau said that there was some question about what hit the former president. There was no question. You see the video, you see the whole thing, you know very well what hit his ear. It wasn't shrapnel because it couldn't have been. There was
And
nothing.
it wasn't glass from the fucking. It wasn't glass from the autocue because the autocues weren't damaged.
Exactly. What struck former President Trump's ear was a bullet, whether in whole or fragmented into smaller pieces, fired from the deceased rifle subject. Read a statement released by the FBI. The Bureau's acknowledgement.
Hold on.
Right.
Are we sure? Are we sure it was from the from Crook's rifle or one of those female idiots' pistols?
The Bureau's the ones that couldn't get the pistol out initially and then couldn't figure out how to fire it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she couldn't figure out how to put it back.
What struck former President Donald Trump in the ear was a bullet, whether whole or fragmented into smaller pieces, fired from the deceased subject's rifle. Read a statement released by the FBI. The Bureau's acknowledgement.
Actually, it could have been.
Hold on.
It could have been an unusually boisterous mosquito.
The Bureau's acknowledgement that Trump 78 was indeed hit by one of the rounds fired by the 20-year-old Crook. All right, comes after the ex-commander-in-chief fumed over FBI Director Chris Wray's testimony before the House Judiciary Committee on Wednesday. All right. Now, the problem is Wray tried to sit up there and muddy the water is what he was doing. He was trying to sit up there and add fuel to the talking point of the left. Oh, Trump wasn't even hit by a bullet. Ray knew this, and he decided to go in front of these people to lie. Well, we
Yeah.
don't know for sure what happened. Come on. Anybody who sits up there and sees when President Trump grabs his ear knows it was not from a frickin' ricochet in pieces of the bullet. They know this. We all know this. We all saw it.
Yep.
Okay, so to even suggest something like that tells you that Christopher Wray should not be anywhere near the FBI because he was trying to make political statements. For him, he
No,
went there
I
to talk
disagree.
about politics, to act as a political activist rather than the damn FBI director.
I disagree. He should be near the FBI. In fact, he should be sitting at a table, yeah, with his right hand handcuffed to the table, talking to the FBI under duress.
This is ridiculous. You're gonna tell me
Yes,
that
it is.
the FBI they're just trying to get to the truth. Then why did he make that statement? Why did he make that? If he wasn't being political, why did he make that statement like that?
I am in
And he
full
was
agreement
called
with
a
you.
liar by President Trump. President Trump wasn't fuming. He just said he's calling him a liar. This is the kind of crap that you get from the FBI, and he's 100% right. If Trump
President
wins
Trump.
with Trump regains the presidency, one of the first things he needs to do is go through the FBI, firing the vast majority of everybody that's in charge.
Yep.
Everybody that's the head of
Well,
any department needs to be told you need to leave. Here's your 20 years. Put in your
the FBI was only supposed
resignation papers now. Put in your freaking retirement papers because you're gone. Anybody that served over 20 years in the FBI, you need to sit up there and go, all of you. Anybody that's over 20 years right now needs to be forced to retire. That's reality.
Well, the FBI is only even now its mandate is only a temporary mandate. They should be disbanded.
There are other forces that could
Do their job, yes,
yes, I totally
and
agree.
better.
All right.
Plus, President Trump might not have been fuming, but he had every right to.
Yeah, he did. You're right. All right, let's get on to a story that's a little closer to me. Arizona copper mine at the center of an epic fight over religion and politics. In his garage here, Henry C. Munoz Sr. keeps a 66 gray Chevy Impala and 3 giant 3D models showing a crater nearly 2 miles across and deep enough to hold the Eiffel Tower. The crater is
Right, that's where you felt the worth.
the crater is the expected outcome if the world's 2 most valuable mining companies get the go-ahead for a massive copper mine to be built nearby, supplying as much as a quarter of the country's current demand
And it's not a
for the
crater.
metal, which is seen as
That-
essential to
hold on,
everything
hold on.
from electrical vehicles to data processing centers, all right, powering the AI boom. Go ahead.
I don't believe it's a crater if it's not caused by an impact.
You're probably right. Munoz, a former miner,
I'm just going to check.
is convinced the project will be an environmental and economic disaster for the area.
Yeah. My mistake. If it's a crater, is a large bowl-shaped cavity in the ground.
Okay.
So yeah, it doesn't have to be from impact.
Well, it could be from an explosion too. Now that I think about it, because they used to call those craters when you blow up something in the underground. All right. Do you have to destroy a town's drinking water just so that somebody in New York could drive an electric car? The 68-year-old asked. All right, roughly 2,000 miles
not wrong.
away, a high-powered Washington, D.C. law firm agrees, but for a different reason. The Beckett Fund, known for championing conservative causes, conservation causes, excuse me, all right, is representing a group of local Apache who argue that the mine will cause irreparable destruction of centuries-old sacred site because everything is sacred to the Native Americans. We walked on it. It's sacred.
It's not just that. It's going to cause ecological damage. environmental damage. This green technology is anything but.
All right. And prevent them from practicing their religion. It's not going to prevent them from practicing their religion.
They'll just die when they do it.
Okay. In mid-May, Beckett said it is planning to take its fight to the Supreme Court, where it has an 8-0 record. 8-0 record. Okay, you can claim that you have an 8-0 record all you want, and you can talk about this, but the reality is you're going to have to deal with the fact that this has to take place. Okay, I know people don't like this, but mining has to take place. Copper is a material that is necessary for the population on the planet.
It seems to me it's not so much the mining as the method of the mining. They're strip mining. They could probably get it by traditional digging tunnel mining.
No. Okay. Strip mining is used for deposits that you can't mine effectively by looking at, because you're not dealing with a seam. You're not following.
Sometimes, yes.
All right.
Sometimes,
for copper, what you're trying to do with copper, right, is you're trying to take the entire bed out, okay, of where the copper is. Okay, I've seen a lot of things about how different another mineral that's often mined the same way for the same reason is silver, because silver ore is not like gold, where gold is in a seam where you just follow the seam and you have a tunnel where you can follow the seam. All right, it's the entire ore around it is impregnated with the metal. Okay, you've got to leach it out, and it's the leaching process that's really the most devastating part of it, because you have to use materials like arsenic and other things, all right, to leach the mineral out.
French food.
Okay. All right. So that's where the quote unquote, when he's talking about how you're going to destroy the water table and poison the water, that's where a lot of that comes from, is that mentality. Right now, we are better at preventing the things like arsenic from
because
getting into the water supply and so forth.
That was a problem in America, specifically from what I've read about with paper mills, because even when the rest of the world has stopped using American paper mills, we were still using mercury to create paper, and that used to get into the water table.
Right. But even the mercury tends to not be. It tends not to bother water because it doesn't float. Okay, the mercury from those things would float. I'm not saying it won't.
When it's in large enough globules, you're correct. But generally, when it comes out of like paper mills, it was in like a fine.
Well, I think it was also
mist in the water.
It was also mixed as it wasn't a pure pollutant. It was already mixed with something else that would actually prevent it from being, falling to the ground.
Yeah.
It wasn't pure mercury. All right, and the I'm not saying that you can't I'm not saying that these things didn't happen in the past, and I'm not saying that they can't happen in the future, because they can. But this guy's commentary, you're going to destroy the town. No, I'm sorry, you're not going to destroy the town. All right. In fact, his big worry is that once you start mining, all the miners will come there, right, and it'll be a boom town for a while. That's really what his complaint is going to be about, right? But see, this is the same group of people who run around and plant things like, oh, look, we got a feather of a pygmy owl, so you can't build a school here. They're all in the same thing. They're anti-progress. They're anti-human progress. And they're also the other ones that aren't quite that bad are the NIMBY. I don't want it happening in my backyard. So they team up with these people.
Yeah.
And that's who this guy is. All right.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's right as well. Everyone is incompetent since DEI. They probably would ruin the land.
Well, I can't deny that. But most of the people that would work for a mining company aren't going to be DEI type people anyway.
You're right. You're right there, Matt. Don't get on a plane if it's got Boeing written on it. And if you do, don't sit anywhere near the doors.
Kamala Harris focuses on 3 potential running mate candidates. Kelly, Shapiro, and Walz are in the top tier for vice presidential run. The presumed Democrat nominee expected to make a pick by August 7th. Okay. From Bloomberg. Okay, I just wanted to bring this up because I made a statement. I'm going to continue to make a statement. Her commentary of not picking the vice presidential candidate right away is a mistake. Okay, and I'm going to say this now. She needed to pick a presidential candidate within the first week of Joe Biden stepping down. And the reason for that is so that people can stop talking about the VP. Now, I know why she wants this to have that there, right? It's because it's everyone keeps talking about the VP pick and the VP going to be better and blah, 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 blah in the news, preventing her from being asked questions. Okay? It does prevent her from being asked serious questions. And they've already tried a number of scenarios, all right, to try and prevent people from finding out about Kamala's record, where they immediately started lying about the fact, oh, she was never appointed a border czar, and you've got every freaking one of these idiots on television, all right, these people that are out there in CNN, CBS, NBC that all scream, she was never the border czar, and then you show CBS, NBC, CNN, all MSNBC, all saying she's the border czar, just a couple years ago. All right, so
Yeah.
so you're either lying then or you're lying now. My guess is you're lying now.
Why can't they be lying both times?
Because she was the border czar. Either she was the border czar or she wasn't.
Yeah, right. So they were lying. She wasn't the border czar. Why can't they be lying now?
That is lying now. She was the border czar. Before, she was the border czar. Okay? They're lying now because her actions as the border czar were an absolute disaster. And they're trying to avoid immigration. They're trying to downplay immigration as much as they can because it is the major issue in the nation. The nation right now, the number one issue everyone talks about, whether it's a Democrat poll or a Republican poll, is immigration.
Yep.
And that's where they're trying to avoid. All right, is tying her to immigration. But not only is she tied to immigration, she was the one running it, and she has a lot of other baggage as well. But she's trying to prevent all that news from really coming out right now, so that she can. Which is why she's delaying her picking of a vice presidential candidate.
No, that's why she's been told to delay.
No, you do not understand who this queen is. Okay, this is Queen Slay. All right, I'm not saying she is when she gets put in charge of something, she doesn't listen to anybody else. She listens only to herself.
Who?
What do you mean? Who? We're talking Kamala Harris. You know who? We're not going to play the what's on first game.
Oh, right. Sorry, you just started Queen Slane. I thought you talked about something completely different.
Yeah, no. So I'm talking about her acting as the queen, and that's how she sees herself now. All right, she sees herself as the queen in charge of all of this, and anybody that gets in her way. First of all, she's an outright Marxist. Most people don't know this, but she's an out and out Marxist. She has quoted Marx several times. All right, and people are trying to hide that fact as well.
Oh yeah, because she wore the fake glasses and waggled the cigar and said, "Would you believe I'm waiting here for a streetcar?"
No, that's Karl Marx, or Groucho Marx. Rather.
No, that's Groucho Marx.
Groucho Marx, yes.
Still
wrong Marx. Wrong Marx. Here's a public service announcement for people. Boar's Heads, all right, recalls products due to the possibility of a listeria outbreak. Boar's Head provision.
Better tell David Cameron. He might get it as an STD.
Right, is recalling all liverwurst products due to a possible listeria contamination. The USDA announced on Friday. The recalls affect Boar's Head Strasbourg brand liverwurst products made between June 11th and July 17th, as well as deli meat products that were produced alongside the liverwurst. All right. Other affected products include Boar's Head Italian Cappy style ham, hot, extra hot Italian Cappy style ham, bologna, all right, beef salami, steakhouse roasted bacon heat and eat gar- garlic bologna and beef bologna. I didn't know there were so many types of bologna, to be honest.
And how long have you been doing politics?
I, this is not a political statement. This is just a public
Yeah,
service announcement.
still a lot of baloney.
Well, okay, good point. Good point. Touche. Touche. Very well done. Alrighty. Let's go around the world a little more. UNESCO adds Japan's Sato Mine site to the World Heritage List.
Why has that hill got a camel toe?
Looks like a little break there. It was kind of interesting.
It looks like a
UNESCO
camel toe.
UNESCO Saturday decided to add a gold and silver mine complex on Sato Island in Japan to its World Heritage Site after a last minute agreement from South Korea, which had opposed its listing, claiming that the site is linked to wartime forced labor of Koreans. UNESCO's World Heritage Committee unanimously decided during a meeting in New Delhi to inscribe the mine complex after Tokyo vowed to provide explanations at the site about the harsh wartime labor involved, bringing the total number of Japan's World Heritage sites to 26. Japan told the committee that it is committed to efforts to sincerely remember all laborers, especially those from the Korean Peninsula, all right, and to enhance explanations and exhibitions of the entire history of the mines. The decision delighted the people in Japan who had been worried after an advisory body for the UN Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization, UNESCO, right, suggested in June that the nomination for the site in the Nagata province, all right, be referred back to Japan for additional details on its application. Okay, um, Japan is now looking at this area going, okay, we're going to increase tourism into this area. All right, so to do this. But
Increased tourism.
increased, yes, increased tourism.
Not increased tourism.
No, it's increased tourism. We're not going to sit up there and butcher the
Get it
word.
right.
Butcher. I have trouble with regular words and I butcher them. I don't need to intentionally butcher them. Okay. You can go ahead. Don't mistake me, but I can't. You know, it's bad enough when I'm just trying to speak the regular words. Um, the thing is Japan has always been very reluctant, all right, to allow a lot of
that party's
tourism.
just telling me that I'm being racist.
I mean, you're not helping, Mr. Barkley. You are not being helpful.
No, actually, I'm being culturalist.
Anyway, the Japan is very
Very.
careful about how much immigration takes place in its country, and so
Oh
it's
yeah.
always limited. It's
I
always
think they also
limited the amount of what do you call it, tourism in the country, because the more tourism
Yeah, I
you
was going
get,
to say.
the larger the increase in immigration. It will follow. It has to. All right. So if they want to increase tourism, you're going to have to also begin the process of increasing, all right, immigration. I don't begrudge the very severe, you know, processes that they have the hoops you have to go through to become a resident of Japan. All right, I really don't.
You've also
I
got
applaud
to
them.
learn. You've
Go
also
ahead.
got to learn the language and take a Japanese name.
And it's important to keep them the culture, that you have to be part of the culture. You have to assimilate into the culture.
That's how we should do it.
Yes, I agree. Right. Let's go back to the Met.
Do we have to?
Yeah. From the Metro. This is the first airline where women can request not to sit next to men.
No, it's not. You could do that on any airline at any time.
Right.
You could request not to sit next to a certain person.
One India-based airline is introducing a new booking feature. All right. It's a sad reality that when traveling alone, women often have to take extra steps to keep themselves safe. The onus shouldn't be on women, and we wish it wasn't this way.
Bullshit.
Who's responsible for their safety? Somebody else? Women can't take care of themselves? Is what you're saying
Yeah,
that
they're
women can't
children.
take care of themselves because they're not empowered? That they have no
They're not
agency?
adult.
They
Yeah,
need to be taken
they're
care of?
not. They're not adults. They're children.
Apparently Eleanor thinks that. Eleanor Noyce, okay? But now one airline is making it easier to calm anxieties when it comes to flying, becoming the first airline to allow women to request not to be seated next to a man. A low-cost airline based in India, Indigo, all right, has announced a pioneering new policy
Go.
allowing women, all right, to view the gender of the passengers sitting around them before booking. What is?
What happens if it's a big butch guy who identifies as a woman?
I don't know. That's a good
Hello, my name's Sharon.
question. Hi, I'm
I'm a
Lily.
girl.
I'm.
Hello, Lily.
Over to New York.
Oh, I thought it said cannibals. I was thinking there's a Jensen Quinn fucking article here.
Top staffers flee New York cannabis regulator after Governor Kathy Hochul's dumps the agency's head. Several high-level staffers at New York's cannabis regulator are calling it quits after Kathy Hochul axed the agency's head and blasted it as a disaster. Couldn't see this coming. Who could see this
That's because you're
happening?
on too much weed.
The staffers leaving the Office of Cannabis Management include Nicole Rosa, Director of Health and Safety, Danielle Holmes, Director for Licensing, and Patricia Piskorski, Hair, all right, First Deputy General Counsel, and Linda Baldwin, all right, General Counsel. The departure the departures
Licensed
take with
cannabis
them years
dispensary.
of institutional knowledge dating back to the start of New York's medical marijuana program and comes after Hochul dumped the agency's head, Christopher Alexander, earlier this year. Do you think maybe with all these women that were directly working under him that he had other reasons that they're leaving? This sounds like a harem.
Yeah.
This really does. Sounds like he was running a harem with dope.
You think?
Former staffers said the governor's overhaul is killing morale.
And his boner.
If the governor comes in and fires your boss, who you've been working your ass off.
Yeah, just your ass, eh? That's not what desks are for. We're experiencing an nomad breakdown, folks.
Oh my god. Let's get on to a different story, shall we? Let's go here.
Yeah, oh my god.
Would-be bride busted over prenup battery.
Fucking hell.
A couple is set to be married this weekend got into an
What happened?
argument.
Did what happened? Did the groom go to an optician and get a better prescription?
Got into an argument over the signing a prenuptial agreement that turned violent and resulted in the would-be bride's arrest for domestic battery, according to court records. Investigators allege that Molly Rose Hogan, 26, and the male victim were engaged in a prenuptial quarrel late Sunday night in their St. Petersburg, Florida residence. Florida, what a surprise! St. Petersburg, what a surprise in Florida! The victim told cops that Hogan grabbed him around the head and struck him on the chest, torso, back, and legs, causing multiple physical injuries. The attack, the man said, was prompted by a heated argument over signing a prenuptial agreement prior to the marriage. Now, was it him refusing to sign or her? I'm just kind of curious.
Probably her.
I don't know. All right, the victim attempted to escape from the defendant multiple times and was ultimately separated from Hogan by witnesses who corroborated his account of the incident. Police alleged that one witness, the victim's brother, was bitten on the arms by Hogan as he sought to stop her from battering his sibling. Alcohol appears to have been a factor. No shit, really?
No, I definitely think just hearing the story it was her. And besides, the people who get angry at prenuptial agreement signings are usually the people who have to sign it.
A wedding
Yeah,
registry
not
remains
the
online, welcoming families to our epic journey. It's an epic journey, all right.
yes. Do you take this man for 3/4 or submission?
I don't make these stories up, folks. I really don't. Scientist grows male genitals in a lab, and there
Oh,
are
for
fears
fuck's
it
sake.
could make blokes obsolete.
Nope.
Male fertility is in crisis, and unless we do something about it, the human race is going to be a total mess. One expert has warned following the news of the creation.
Well, stop pumping soy into everything.
Boffins
Stop
have
emasculating men.
created
No, seriously. Here's the thing. You look in the Middle East, male fertility has no problems. You look in the Far East, they're doing okay. It's only in the West.
Yeah.
And it's all because of the fucking shit that they're putting into our food.
Boffinus has it's also because of other reasons, right? Have created tiny testicles in a lab, sparking fears it could make men redundant in the future. Dr. Nitzan Goen, an Israeli scientist, has produced the genitals from cells extracted from mice. But she said she hopes to be able to produce human versions within 5 years that could produce sperm. Dr. Goen, who heads the Sex Determination Laboratory in Bar Leon in Israel, said her goal is not to make men redundant, yes it is, in terms of reproduction, and just wants to help the global crisis in male fertility.
There isn't a global crisis in male fertility. It's only in the West. Like I said, it's because of what's being put in our food. And yes, there are other factors like the emasculation of men. The fact that, let's face it, more and more men are refusing to have anything to do with women.
Yeah, people, Dr. Goen said, people ask me if the aim of my work is to get rid of men, and I say, definitely no. We need their chromosomes. We have to stick with them. Not
Yeah, that
anymore.
sounds
You
like a
don't.
fucking...
The trans population is probably happy because they're serious about
No,
that
because
addictomy now.
yeah, because most of them will be getting rid of as well.
Anyway.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
let's go to Twitter, shall we? In a Twitter
Oh
review
God.
here, and I'm gonna turn that off so we can do this. This is how you sink a boat. Well, we're not gonna
Hey,
watch
and
whales
people say,
anymore. Don't you love this kid? Oh shit! Time to go.
is that an orca or just a
No, that is not an orca. That looks like a right whale, to be honest. That looks like
yeah?
a what they call a right whale.
Because orcas are doing this in the Mediterranean
Oh
for
no, no,
fun.
that's this story. Right? Killer whales sink 1.2 million, $128,000 yacht in the terrifying 2-hour Mediterranean Sea attack. It's like watching wolves hunt.
Yeah, and people say, "Oh, killer whales don't attack people." They fucking do.
Orcas relentlessly battered a yacht in a terrifying 2-hour attack Wednesday that didn't end until the $128,000 vessel sank to the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea. Robert Powell, 59, and his crew were just 22 hours into their 10-day trip from Vilamoro, Portugal to Greece when the pod set its sight on the 100,000 pound or $128,000 sailing boat. To me, they were not playing at all. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew the weak points of
Yeah,
the
you know.
boat, and they knew how to sink it.
Yeah, that doesn't mean that they weren't playing.
Uh,
It's just their game wasn't fun for them.
well, you're correct. It wasn't fun for the humans.
Yeah, it was
The
fun for the
whales had a
orcas, though.
great time. Their sole intention was to sink
They
the
had a
boat,
whale of a
and
time.
that was it. The 5 orcas circled the 39-foot sailing boat and took turns smashing it to bits around 8 p.m. in the coordinated assault. Powell compared to the carnage of wolves. The IT company owner said he felt the first hit on the bottom of the boat, all right, named the Bonhomme William. Bonhomme William, is that how you say it? I don't know. Like, see how bad
Uh-huh.
my pronunciations are? You want me to sort of intentionally screw up words. Whilst I was looking around the boat to see if I could see anything, I was doing about 5 to 6 knots. It got hit again.
Yeah, he
On
was
the
doing about
second
5 to
hit,
6
I
knots. The
looked
boat
over
was
the
only
back
doing
of the boat.
3.
I could see a dark shape of a killer whale in the water. A pod of 5 first focused on the rudder, all right, rendering the sailboat unable to steer after about 15 hits. That's when the orcas separated and each concentrated on their own section of the boat's exterior, including the keel and the stern. They were circling. It was like watching wolves hunt, and you were the prey. They were taking turns, and, all right, to come in. Sometimes two would come in at the same time and hit it. So it's obviously pretty terrifying.
This is exactly what dolphins do to sharks.
If it swims in the ocean, it can stay in the ocean. I'm just pointing it out.
Yeah.
There's a
No, I'm
reason.
saying this is exactly how dolphins deal with sharks.
Yeah, this is a pretty terrifying attack. It looks like they came in and people got them off of there, right?
Yeah.
Some studies suggest that orcas are targeting the boats for fun. It's only a matter of time before somebody shoots one of these killer whales.
Yeah, you
Um,
don't want to do that.
you if you're
I mean,
going to,
that
if you
that would that seriously that would be an idiot move. These things are tearing your boat apart. So you shoot one of them, right? Say you hit it. Say you injure it. Uh, when your boat sinks, unlike other boats which have been sunk, the humans haven't been injured, right? But
for the most part, yeah, I think
if you shoot one of those orcas, when you're in the water, they're going to tear you apart.
yeah. This has been happening. This pod of orcas specifically have been intentionally attacking ships. Okay, but they're not attacking. They're smart enough to know the difference between like a sailboat without a motor, right, and a regular ship with a
Yeah,
motor, right? They can get away from them, all right. And
they could
it's
probably do it with a regular ship with a motor as well.
with the
They are smart enough.
yeah. The other thing is, I think that they avoid the ones that are metal hulled. This was obviously not a metal hull ship.
I've actually heard of dolphins and orcas grabbing fishing boats nets and pulling them under and around so that they tangle up in the in the screws.
Could be. Could be. Yeah. Final story of the day. Final story, Batman.
Yay!
Back to Florida.
Hold on, before you start, are you going to sign my community service papers this time?
You're for one of the community service papers for.
Like, to say I've been here and done my community service.
Oh, okay. Sure. Send them on over. All right.
Don't think I do this because I like it.
Florida Sheriff's Office warns against taking selfies with depressed bear. What do you mean warns? You should be encouraging this. Because if people want to opt out of the gene pool, let them. Okay?
Yeah, he should just put a sign up by the bear saying "Feminists welcome."
A Florida Sheriff's Office is reminding residents not to approach bears after onlookers were seen trying to snap selfies with a depressed bear at the side of a highway. The Walton County Sheriff's Office said on social media that the bear was spotted late last week on the north side of Highway 98 near County Road 83 in Santa Rosa Beach. Famous last word, if not friend, why friend shaped? All right, a post said, because this black bear is stressed, depressed, lemon zest. All right, the sheriff's office said members of the public were seen getting dangerously close to the bear to take selfies. He's clearly not in the mood for pictures. The bear showed signs of severe stress.
Yeah, you don't approach a human who shows signs of severe stress.
With respect, if you want, the bear is just waiting for some dumbass to come up to it.
He's waiting for a feminist.
With a picnic basket.
Yeah, he's waiting for a feminist.
Right? I'm just pointing out that sooner or later you are the picnic basket. You are going to be on the menu. I'm just trying to point this out, folks. Don't do stupid things like that.
No, do stupid things.
You can't blame people. You can't blame the animal for acting like an animal. If you go up there to the bear and find out that you've just been mauled. I'm just pointing this out. Just like that grizzly idiot, all right, who was bopping bears on the nose. It was a matter of time before he was eaten.
Yeah, it's just like that polar bear who thought it'd be fun to poke his head into Brian Blessed's tent. Got what he deserved. Punched in the face.
All right, folks, that's all I got for the day. Thank you for coming out and seeing us. Hope that you all have a good week. Next week, I may or may not be able to do a stream because I have a number of things going on. This week, I will be traveling all week, so if you don't see me in Discord and everything, you know why. Thanks for coming out, everybody. Hope you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.
I don't. Go on, sod off. You heard him. It's